Okay, so continuing where we left off, I spoke briefly about a little bit of the tarot and the major arcana and the minor arcana. So before we actually get into the cards and the meanings and the symbology and the imagery and all of that, and a little bit of the numerology and maybe a bit of astrology, before we get into the fun stuff, I think it's quite important to talk about ethics when it comes to tarot and what tarot can and can't do. So I've actually written down some notes here so that I don't leave out anything, because I feel this is quite important and significant if you want to advance with your tarot, and you'll see why when I explain now. So let me just go to my notes. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about is what tarot is. So tarot is not meant for fortune telling, okay, which is might actually bum you out when I say this, but it's not meant for fortune telling. So it's not meant to predict, it's not meant to be like a very predictive thing. So when I say that, I mean things like a poor question to ask the tarot or involving tarot would be, when am I going to win the lotto? Or will I win the lotto? Or is it going to rain tomorrow? Those sorts of things. Because with tarot, that the creators of the tarot, created tarot to advance your soul. These are all about your soul lessons. So I'm not sure if I'm kind of making sense there. So for example, what tarot can help you with is questions like, what do I need to know about my finances, my career, or to give you an outlook, or what can you expect, like expected outcomes, that sort of thing. Not what's gonna, not the sort of question like what's gonna happen tomorrow at 12 o'clock this time. It generally doesn't work for that, because it wasn't created with like specific time frames. Although now we do kind of use time frames, it's not always accurate to the T. I know some readers, they are quite accurate, but generally from what I've seen, the best way to use tarot is to advance your soul and to move forward in life, and that's what I'm aiming to teach you. Okay, so with tarot, it's sort of like, it's a divination tool, basically, and it's a divination tool so that you can see what your soul or your higher self wants you to know. So this is a tool in which you can interpret messages. So that's why we call tarot readers, because they read and interpret messages. And that's why I said earlier, you don't necessarily have to have a very high level of intuition, because that will be developed. That's an added bonus, because if you follow a set system, you won't really be wrong. Okay. Another thing is that your guides and angels, or your deities, depending what belief system you hold, or God consciousness or universal consciousness, can come through using this tool. So that's the beauty of tarot, and that's how I use tarot, and that's what I'm going to teach you to do. And tarot can really, really bring immense healing into your life if you allow it and use it for the right purposes. Okay, now I want to talk about the ethics with tarot. So there's certain times that you should avoid doing a reading, and certain people you should avoid doing a reading for. So this might put you off a little, but it's very important that you keep in mind what I say. You don't have to stick to it, but this is something that I find helps me a lot when I, follow this kind of advice. And it's something that my tarot teacher taught me as well. And I'm gonna tell you about it. Okay, so when you or your client or prospective client or someone else is tired that you're going to read for, if they're feeling vulnerable, they've had a shock or very traumatic event happen to them, okay, it's very important that you have boundaries when you're doing readings, okay? And I know this can be really difficult when you're starting out, especially with friends and family and loved ones, okay? Another thing that I want to say is you have to have good energy or high vibrational energy when you're doing a reading, because you're susceptible to different energies when you're doing this, okay? And I'll talk about psychic protection just now, so don't get like too freaked out or anything. So in order for you to have your boundaries set up as well and have that good energy and stay in that good high vibration, you don't want to be tired, you don't want to be vulnerable, and also if you've consumed alcohol or drugs, and for some people, including myself, if you eat junk food or caffeine, it can cloud your energy and distort the messages, or the readings might be foggy, okay? And it makes you quite susceptible to dark energies coming in and dark entities, and you'll feel drained, miserable, and you might actually take on the person that you're reading for, their energy, okay? Also, if they're in this low vibrational energy, so if they've consumed alcohol or drugs, or they're very kind of traumatized, you absorb that energy, and again you open yourself up and them to dark energies, okay? So even if, let's say they've been drinking and they come to you the next day or 2 days later, and you can say they're pretty hungover, their energy is going to be quite low, okay? If that is the case and they're insisting they want a reading, or you really want to do reading for them, it may be better to look at oracle cards, because they're going to be quite vulnerable and they may not be ready to receive the spiritual insight and messages that the tarot is going to bring forth. And oracle cards can be a little bit more gentler in this regard, because I find when people are consuming alcohol or drugs, or they're going through even if they're going through a traumatic time, they can be, a little bit defensive, and which is, understandable. And also, this is going to sound strange, but people who are really ill or sick, because their energy is low, like for example, if they have like heavy flu or something like that, you want them to be as clear as possible, okay, so that the reading's not going to be foggy. And also you don't want to you don't really want to get sick yourself, because that can affect maybe your ability to read. You'll be tired, and then that sort of thing, okay? Okay, but I'm not leaving anything out. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to send me an email or leave me a comment or that sort of thing. Okay, and then, actually, this is very important, and it's something that I strictly follow. Other readers feel differently about this, okay? And different psychic mediums also feel differently about this. Reading for people who are not present. Okay, so children are different, but like say for example, you're reading for your brother's sister's business, or your sister's boyfriend's business, or sister's husband's business. That is a bit unethical. Okay, it's kind of like spying on someone. It would be appropriate, for example, if you say, okay, can you do a reading for my husband's business, because that directly relates to you, because it affects your well-being, and you might have children involved, and you're married to him. You're not married to your sister's boyfriend. To your sister's husband. You're not dating your sister's boyfriend. It would be better for your sibling or your sister to come for the reading rather than you. Okay. The exception that I make for this is with parents and their children. However, that's different, because you kind of directly related to your children. Okay, that doesn't make sense really what I'm saying, but you're looking after your children. You want to know that they're fine, they're happy, they're healthy, that sort of thing. That's different. Okay, and then most importantly, as I said earlier, if possible, set those boundaries up as early as possible, because if you for example, free readings, in the beginning you might be so excited to be doing tarot that you just do readings for free, but keep in mind that this will drain you, because there isn't an equal exchange of energy. Okay, so you can do free readings, but there needs to be some sort of exchange of energy, because you're giving your energy, okay, and energy needs to be received back. So even a heartfelt thank you is okay, I guess, but you don't want I find when people get free things, they become greedy, and they also don't value the reading. Then maybe a day or two later, they're like, okay, can you do the reading for me again? And they don't wait for the lessons of the tarot to play out. When they pay for it, they value it more, because they've invested in it. And human beings are strange, okay, myself included. When you pay for something, you think, okay, this is some quality stuff, okay, this is the good stuff, I'm really gonna listen to this, I'm gonna follow this, this stuff is real. Okay, so we associate value and quality with price, sometimes to our detriment, sometimes not. Okay. Okay, now I want to talk about psychic protection. You don't have to do any fancy type of ritual. A simple thing like knocking on your deck 3 times or 5 times can clear the energy out. But if you are going to do a number of readings in a day, then I'd suggest prayer, if you're comfortable with prayer, or asking your angels or God consciousness to protect you, surround you with light. Or you can do what I do, light some incense, or these little type of smoke stick things. I'm not sure what it's actually called in English. I'll have to find out the name, or get some crystals like smoky, I think it's called smoky quartz, black tourmaline, obsidian. Those can really help for psychic protection. And I actually call in Archangel Michael to help ground and protect my energy while I'm doing readings, as well as the client's energy. And you ask for messages to come through for their highest and best good, even if they're not ready to hear it at the time, because that's ultimately what you want for them. You want things for their highest and best good. And it's also important to ask your angels and guides to help you drop your ego, because when you're doing tarot reading, you are doing this from the perspective of a healer, and everything that I said is important even when you're reading for yourself. Okay, so now the boring stuff is out of the way. I'm going to stop the video here and we're going to get into Tarot 101.